Our next speaker, I hope you find our next speaker riveting. It's me. So I thought it was awkward that I was introducing myself, but here we go. So I'm going to say a few words, take up a little bit of time today. I hope you find what I present to you guys as valuable. I will be around the entire rest of the weekend and also participating in the tour. So if there's something that I touch upon, you want more perspective or detail, please come and find me. I want to be as approachable as possible to all of you. And so with that, I invite you to come and let's have conversations, even if they're hard ones. I'm okay with that. So the first thing I want to do is a little bit of housekeeping. I want to introduce my wife, Ellen. She's here in the room. My best friend and greatest supporter of me. Ellen, would you stand real quick? Get to put her on the spot. I'm sure I'll pay for that later, Cade. But we're going to be around. We're going to be on the tour. She's a beef producer just like I am. So if you have questions, again, comments, anything, that's what we're here for. So I'm going to get into my presentation. And again, I also want to welcome all of you here. We titled this convention, Take Back Prime. Part of what the reasoning behind that slogan was touched on during our history lesson earlier today, where there's branded programs out there that capture some of our product because we haven't done the best job of identifying it, and they're taking advantage of that. And we want to take that back. So we've tried to put into place some programs for us to do that. And that just a real quick clarification for you of how we came up with that slogan. Today I'm going to talk about a few items that I've got on the screen. I'm going to touch on member service. That's fundamental to a breed association. We'll talk about breed improvement, marketing, the junior programs, what we've done there, a quick industry update in terms of collaboration. I'm going to call upon Pam, our treasurer, to come up and talk a little bit about the new Heritage Fund and then my vision moving forward. So those are the ones we're going to talk about. So first of all, I want to recognize a very important group of people to all of you and to me especially, and that's our staff. And this is a very dedicated group of people that work hard every working day for you as members. Most of them are here today. I wanted everybody, since the office is just down the road, I wanted all staff to be able to come, spend some time here, and interact with you folks as members. We also have a very committed board of directors. Frankly, I've been in the association business for close to 35 years, I guess. And I can honestly tell you, I've not seen so much passion with a group of people like this board of directors that I work with. They are committed and they are passionate about the breed and they want to do the right thing every day, every decision. We hammer them out. They are well thought out, and again, I appreciate what they do for me and for the breed. And the board, basically, this is how I operate. The board provides us with direction, us being the staff, and the staff then takes that and implements it into either programs, protocols, services, whatever it may be. That's how it works. And that's how it will always work as long as I'm the executive director. Last year, I stood on the stage and I promised the group that was in attendance that we were going to have focus groups and take input from the membership to help guide the direction of our association. And we did that. We had these 5 focus groups. Some of you in the room participated in those. And last year I offered that if anybody would like to help and serve in a capacity like this, to let us know. Some of you did. Some of you I came out and recruited because we needed some additional input. But the input that we got from members was extremely valuable. It was listened to. And I want to thank the input that we got. But we have made some improvements and some strides forward in all of these areas. And I'm going to touch on each one of these as we go through our conversation today. First one is the office efficiencies. I just wanted to make a list of things that we addressed in the past 365 days. We tried to identify different programs or processes that may have ran their course, that maybe needed to be updated, somehow needed to be improved. And again, most of this came from member input. And these are some of the things that we addressed. We changed the payment process and made it way more efficient. We adjusted some fees, and we continue to adjust fees as necessary. And if we get a break in the price from an industry provider, we pass that right along to the membership, and we try to stay as current as possible. And you're going to hear more about that as we go through the weekend. We've made the DNA submission process easier, simpler, and again, this is still a work in progress, and you're going to see more improvement in this area in the months to come. We wrote an employee handbook that didn't exist before. We outsourced payroll to lighten the load within staff so they could better serve our members. We updated the membership process, and also we are providing a monthly educational podcast. Those are just some of the things that we did in the last year to make your lives easier and to provide better service, which again is fundamental for our association. It is a numbers game, and this is where I reach out and ask for help from all of you. We have to be able to keep our lights on, and that comes from your input in DNA testing, registrations, transfers, sponsorships for conventions like this. All of these things are our core revenue streams for the association. This is how we keep our lights on. And again, we're addressing things that we can do on our side to help it, to make it easier for your side. And again, trying to be as competitive as we can be from a fee standpoint. The arrows reflect what has happened compared to last fiscal year. So we were up in memberships. I love that idea. I love the fact that our membership is growing. We need more soldiers for the Army, if you will. So that's our bright spot. But core business was down compared to a year ago in all the other areas. And those are things that fundamentally our board is reacting to, and we are being very intentional to address the contraction in business. This is a glimpse of the update that I get from our genetic testing provider, Neogen. Every month we get this report. It just kind of shows that we are trailing, and the numbers will back this up, that we need the DNA and genetic testing to come through the association. So that's my appeal to the group. One thing about this particular slide, this is a different sample types. Last year, I talked about some of the problems with hair cards, and they do slow up the process. I don't know that that everybody in the room understood that particular issue. It was touched on this morning by both Martha and Lauren when they were given their update and educational session this morning. But we have seen the hair cards come down a little bit, and it's picked up by either blood cards or especially TSUs. So thank you for that. It does make it quicker and more painless on your end in terms of waiting for results. We did a quick survey not long ago. It wasn't very big and there wasn't a lot of responses, but each response said breed improvement was their first priority. And this is not new in my career. It's also not new when I sit in the boardroom, as President Nichols will agree. When we start talking about breed improvement, everybody's on the edge of their seat. And this is always a very important topic. It is for you folks as well. And we see that it's not just in this breed, I can assure you. So we take it very seriously. And we are implementing different things. We opened up a brand new progeny test, certainly not the first for the breed, but first for a while, I think, through collaboration with AgriBeef. And again, it was mentioned this morning in our history lesson how important the contemporary groups and accurate data. There's no better way to get accurate data and unbiased results than from a progeny test. So we're excited about that. Those cattle are bred and gestating right now. So that's exciting. We're looking forward to the knowledge that we'll gain from that particular cooperative effort. The right mate breeding tool, you're going to hear more about that as Hannah gives her presentation, and we got the right mate team coming to present as well. Hopefully they can give us a timeline, and that breeding tool can be especially valuable as it incorporates pedigree and genomic information and everything that goes with those kinds of efforts. So I'm excited about hearing more from that team. They're also helping us with selection indexes. And I would bet that the room gets pretty full when those guys are here later this weekend talking about both of those two items. Research. It's interesting to me. There's been some kind of a recent surge of projects that are coming to our direction. Some from industry, some from academia as well, because people see the demand for higher quality genetics in the U.S. beef population, and as a result of that, there's more interest from a research side. So I think you're going to hear more and more from our perspective and what we can do on the research side. Stay tuned as Hannah gives her report for some updates there. I mentioned the educational podcast that we have each month. A lot of it focuses on breed improvement. And that's because that's where the interest is. So if you haven't participated in the monthly educational podcasts, I'd encourage you to do so. I think they've been very well received. We do record them, so they're available on our website if you want to go back and look at the list of what we've already done and view those. We've got some pretty heavy hitters that are willing to come on and be a part of that. Promotion. Cade, you touched on this in terms of this is kind of as we transition in my presentation here into the marketing side. The promotion of our breed has come to where it's, in my opinion, very necessary as we move forward. And this is something we're not going to be able to ignore. And they say, we talked earlier with our history experts that people didn't know what Wagyu was or is today. That's on us. We've got to get the message out, and the only way to grow this breed is to attack this the right way. So if we're going to grow within the U.S. beef industry, I think we can identify some things that this breed could really help out with. And I had a conversation in the hall just a little bit ago about this and where does this breed fit? Well, we know that there's going to be more heifer retention. There's going to have to be more heifer retention as we move forward. I'm not going to dwell on that, but that means we need Cavanese bulls. Demand for quality beef is a demand for higher marbling, higher quality bulls. Those kinds of genetics that can go out there and improve the quality of the next calf crop. If you've attended a BIF program or a BIF conference in the last decade, you're going to hear a push for heterosis. And you think about it, and it was talked about earlier by our industry experts that talked about the CAB program, and the success of the CAB program has basically homogenized the beef herd, and most of what you see in most areas, not all, but in most areas of our country, you see a black-hided commercial cow, and she's a high percentage Angus. What an opportunity for anyone who's not a high percentage Angus. If heterosis means anything to the commercial sector, which it does, that's an opportunity. And I've been preaching that for a good while now. So to me, the solution is to get these American registered Wagyu bulls out there. I'm asking the commercial sector to ask for the registration papers from this association. And that's how we're going to approach it. And we had an opportunity not long ago, a publication wanted to do a swap. They didn't charge us anything. They wanted to do a swap, and they would run an ad a couple of times for us. So we created an ad that looks like this, and it basically bullet points everything that I just said. And hopefully this can go to the commercial sector, and the commercial industry can learn that Wagyu bulls are out here. They can learn that they have something to offer, and they can be a piece of this puzzle that we call the U.S. beef population. And I think, Andy, that's how we fit in this puzzle. We also did something extra special. We created a one-of-a-kind PVP program that has been rolled out, and it is available. If anybody would like more details, we're going to have a session on this particular program on Saturday. Johnette is here from our staff, and she's going to better explain the opportunities here. But we talked about this as a work in progress last year when I was on this stage. This is up and running, and we're pretty excited about that marketing opportunity to add value to your genetics, whether it be live animals or on the rail. Okay? We absolutely needed to be more intentional with our next generation of producers in this association. And this is near and dear to my heart because I grew up in junior programs. My kids grew up in junior programs. And so the void was pretty evident to me that there was opportunity that we could really do some things to make a difference. We have our second intern with us today, Jacob, would you stand up real quick? This is Jacob Ellerbush from Texas. Thank you, Jacob. If you don't know Jacob, make a point to introduce yourself to him. You may not have to because he is not shy. But we had dinner with Jacob, and he probably didn't realize it, but I was eavesdropping on what he was saying last night, and he's a remarkable young man. And it's people like him that we need to find a way to help get them going in this industry, or we'll be in serious trouble. I am actually the average age of the U.S. beef producer. That's not a good thing. That's not a good thing. So lots of opportunity for people like you, Jacob, in this industry. I firmly believe it, but they need help getting going, and that falls on us. Scholarships, we're going to announce some scholarships during the gala dinner on Saturday night. We have 3 scholarship winners, and we're pretty excited about that. We had I think interest in the scholarships was more than doubled over last year. So the word's getting out, and it should increase interest in our junior programs. And events, we held our very first National Junior Wagyu Association event. We held a leadership camp at West Texas A&M University. We had a ball. And the kids that were there had a lot of fun, and they also learned a lot. As you could kind of tell from some of these pictures, we did everything from live animal to on the rail to sample differences. You know, when you see a 5-year-old take a bite of grass-fed beef, the first time he's ever had it, and just watch his reaction. It was enlightening. So they had a lot of fun, but they also learned a lot. And the grown-ups that came along, we had room for them this year. I hope someday we don't. But the ones that came along, they also really got a lot out of this. So we're going to have it again next year, and we have made arrangements with Colorado State University, and they're going to be the host of our 2nd annual leadership camp. So we're real excited about that. It was a fun week. Regarding industry, we just simply cannot do this by ourselves. And we also cannot ignore industry. We had some industry experts up here on this stage this morning talking about our beef and our breed, and it is highly important that we work with industry. So we have to collaborate. And I find this very rewarding, quite honestly. I love the relationships. I know a lot of people in this industry basically because I've been around for a while. I think anybody that's been around for a while, you know a lot of people. And it's a result of being intentional as you meet people and developing those relationships. So these are just some examples of some of the collaboration that you see on the screen. I'm not going to go through each one, but they're all fundamental in the success of our association and our breed. And we need these folks and others like them. This is a long ways from an all-inclusive list. At this time, I'm going to invite Pam up to talk a little bit about the newly created American Wagyu Heritage Fund. And she's going to give us some details and hopefully have some fun with this. So Pam?
Thank you, Jerry. Good afternoon. Thank you for joining us at this year's conference. For many years, members of the AWA have discussed creating a nonprofit organization that could accept tax-deductible donations to support our youth, improve the breed, and preserve the history of Wagyu cattle in the United States. Well, this year, that vision became a reality. Thanks to the leadership from and the generosity of Sheila Patinkin, Pete Ushelman, Adam Wackel, and Al Nessinger, we successfully launched the American Wagyu Heritage Fund. I would also like to thank Jerry, our liaison to the AWA, for his support of the project, and Gracie for her outstanding creative design work. We define the mission of the AWHF through these 4 core pillars. We plan to support AWA junior members by awarding scholarships and hosting educational events that nurture interest in Wagyu cattle. We aim to fund research projects that improve the breed and help producers raise the highest quality animals possible. Some high-interest projects that we would like to pursue include studying the relationship between fatty acid profiles and measurable EPDs, as well as exploring the link between marbling and animal maturity. And finally, we must never forget how this incredible breed made its way to the United States. Thanks to the vision of the Wagyu pioneers, a few of whom we were able to hear from this morning, and cooperation of US and Japanese officials, Wagyu cattle were imported into this country. To this day, we remain the only nation ever granted that privilege. If any of these goals resonate with you, we invite your support. You can help by making both cash and non-cash donations, including gifts of stocks and bonds. And Adam would like me to also add that we'll accept crop share donations. Not only will your donations be fulfilling our mission, but seeing as the American Heritage Fund is a registered 501c3 nonprofit organization, your contributions may be tax deductible. Of course, everyone's financial situation is different, so please consult with your accountant or tax preparer. Do you have this slide?
Yeah, just the green button.
The big one?
Yeah.
You can also support our mission by donating items to our future fundraising events. This year's auction features some incredible contributions made from our founding members. Adam Wackel donated an exceptional Ginjiro steer that's finished and ready to go. Al Nessinger contributed a stunning Notorious bull, and Sheila Patinkin and Adam Wackel donated award-winning Wagyu steaks. You'll also have the opportunity to bid on Wagyu semen from bulls in our progeny test, a Cattle Max subscription, and finally, what I consider the crown jewel of the auction, limited numbered editions of original imported bull posters, each featuring a photo of the bull, its pedigree, and a Japanese registration certificate complete with nose print. These are sure to be among the most sought-after items this year. So bid once, bid high, and help us grow the American Wagyu Heritage Fund. I'll now present our inaugural video produced by Kyler Penland from Penco that tells our story. Thank you.
Wagyu cattle in America aren't just premium beef, they're living history. Each animal is the product of decades of precision, patience, and pride. But how did they get here? It all began with a few hand-picked cattle from Japan brought to America, the first country to import live Wagyu cattle. These animals, their genetics, and our determined association of breeders, ranchers, and researchers made Wagyu cattle in America the best beef available worldwide, creating a tradition of unmatched quality and care. Founded as a nonprofit in 2025, the American Wagyu Heritage Fund exists to keep the Wagyu tradition alive, investing in breed education, junior programs, research, and preservation of the ongoing story of Wagyu in America. Education is at the heart of what the AWHF does, and it's for everyone. From seasoned ranchers to curious newcomers, we curate industry-leading knowledge in proper animal care, sustainable practices, and the incredible genetics that make Wagyu unique. Through youth scholarships, the AWHF helps students and young ranchers turn their passion into careers, developing pathways for the next generation to achieve more. The AWHF pushes research that improves cattle health, boosts sustainability, and protects breed integrity, while also safeguarding the historical records, bloodlines, and stories that tell how Wagyu took root here. These aren't just programs, they are promises. With the AWA chef, history will be preserved so the Wagyu experience will grow for generations. Your tax-free donation fuels our mission. The future of Wagyu starts at the American Wagyu Heritage Fund. Become a founder of the AWA Chef today at wagyu.org.
How'd you like that? We were pretty excited about the development of that short video clip. That, Jerry, I don't know, or is that the videos that they were talking about in the early days when they imported those critters in the 90s? Are those the results or no? Hard to say. Yeah. So it was a interesting project, and I thank Kyler and his team. Kyler with Penco is our marketing company that we're working with that helped create that, and some other videos that you may have seen on social media by now. They started coming out, I don't know, was it 4th of July, maybe within the first one, but anyway, his team is here. They're running around doing their thing. They're kind of hard to find sometimes because they do such a good job of staying out of the way, but they're capturing content, I can guarantee you. And some of them are in the room right now, and I appreciate you guys. Thank you. So you can find those folks in the trade show later today too, if you want to talk to them more about that. But Gary, if we can pull that back up. I'm going to get close to the end here with my time. This is a slide that I had on the screen a year ago, and I intentionally didn't change a thing. This is how it read last year. This is how it reads this year. And this was my vision for the association and some things that we could address and really make an impact. And we've either accomplished or have gotten very close to accomplishing everything that you see on that list in 365 days. And that, I think, has changed the game. I think our association is in a better place. I think we are better at what we do. And I think we are better for you because of it. We talked about most all of these things already. I'll touch on one that we haven't mentioned yet here in a second. But I pulled this up and saw it the other day when I was putting this together, and I thought, wow, I'm just going to put that back up there and show all of you what your staff and board have been doing in the last year. This one, I wasn't sure how it was going to fit or where it was going to fit, but the need was there to create a strategic plan that was current and relevant to our industry, right? And so with the help of our board of directors, we got to work and created this particular document that you see on the screen. You can find it on the website, and I do think we have a few copies here if somebody would like one. We have those available. But really we focused on breed improvement, everybody's favorite, the membership experience or the services that we provide to you, the industry presence, as I've alluded to already today, consumer opportunities, that's through our marketing efforts, and financial integrity. And so the details are on the sheet. Be sure and take a look at it. All strategic plans, all they are is a roadmap for your leadership to follow. And one thing I can assure you is, and I've learned this firsthand with experience. Sometimes these things get created and then they collect dust. And this is not going to happen with this document. I periodically bring it up and put it out again in front of our board, and we talk about it in board meetings. How does this decision affect the strategic plan? And if we can stay the course, that's how you really make an impact in the industry. So we're excited about that. Take a look. Again, comments. I call it feedback. I don't call it criticism or praise. I call it feedback. And we appreciate any and all feedback. All right. Again, opportunities. I don't know, I said this a year ago and I still believe it. I don't know of another breed that has as much untapped opportunity as this one. That's why I accepted the position, quite honestly. I think there's a world of opportunity if we can just all get in the same canoe and row in the same direction. The top line talks about what you can do as producers satisfying the consumer. Identify what they want and deliver it. Somebody mentioned earlier, maybe it was Cade, somebody said, yes, it was Cade, your dad said, identify the market and then create a product to fill the demand. Well, our demand is clear. The buying public, they're not afraid to pay the price for a positive eating experience. But if they pay that price, it better be a positive eating experience. And that's what you folks do. You create those genetics to satisfy the consumer every time they sit down and eat the product. As an association, it's our job to satisfy you as members. We can't fill a need if we don't know about it. So fuss to us first. And I know, Martha, you asked that this morning. Leadership and staff work together with the membership can mold the AWA to best fit the evolving needs of members. So in other words, what we need to do is find the best ways to service the membership and then deliver. So that is kind of what I try to live by every day with my position as your leader. Here's another slide from last year, and I'm just going to touch on it. We don't always agree. There's full blood versus F1. We heard that conversation even this morning. There's competition, which is very unique to this breed, from another breed association. And basically, we need to build the bridge. And we need to work together. I still like this next sentence. Decisions made today will tell the story of Wagyu. And it is your story to tell. And I think it is really critical that you gather in a place like this together and share ideas. I encourage the hallway discussions, the networking that takes place. Someday down the road in the future, somebody will say, hey, I remember meeting so-and-so in 2025 at the Idaho convention. Or I remember learning this or that at that convention. That's what this is all about. So I encourage that as well. That's going to wrap up my presentation. I want to thank you all for your attendance. I thank you for being here. I know it's a commitment. It's a commitment from your resources, financial, time, being away from the ranch. I get it. And it's a really big deal to me that you've made the effort to be here. So I thank you and enjoy your convention.